So in the last video, we spoke about how other people's energy affect you. We spoke about how other people are having thoughts and feelings and they could be sending energy to you, and we're all walking around in this quagmire of energetic soup of other people's thoughts and feelings and energy. And so we covered off that, and we also covered off that there's many spiritual laws that govern how all that works and what we can do about it. In this video, what we're talking about is, again, how other people can be affecting you, but specifically we're looking at your ancestors. So we've all got a mum and dad, and then they've got a mum and dad, and so on, all the way up through time. And we've known for a long time that we can inherit sort of genetic diseases and things like that from people. But there's a new science called epigenetics, and epi means above. So above the gene. So what's above the gene? Well, it's the thought, it's the energy, it's the environment that can impact that person back there, and that same impact can flow down through the ancestors. So what they're starting to see is that something that happens up here, let's just say you've got an ancestor that was in World War II and went through some horrible trauma back there. That same trauma can affect everyone down through the line here. So when we're doing ancestral healing, the potential is to affect so many people, because it's called morphogenic resonance. So what happens in the family system here affects the whole family system. Everyone that's born under that same energy is affected by that same energy. And so it's really important to clear this. So this is called a family system. So here, we've got you here, we've got mum and dad and so on, all the way back up through time. When you start going up, here you can see there's many thousands of people here that can be potentially what happened to them. What happened to them, their thoughts, their feelings, their traumas, their beliefs that they locked in can be impacting you and be like a handbrake in your life in this lifetime. And so clearing family trauma is so important because, again, there's spiritual laws that govern how all this works. Because we look at your family system here, and somewhere in your line there could have been war, famine, money issues, trauma, all different types of issues, addictions. We've all got stories about how our great-great-grandfather was an alcoholic and used to, beat the wife, or there's all these different things that we've all got these stories about our families. And of course, it could be traumatic deaths, there could be miscarriages or deaths at a young age that have impacted the family environment, and also patterns, addictions, patterns, different things, unlucky in love and trouble with meeting friends, personality traits. All these things can be passed down and affecting you. And there's things you can do to clear them. Again, there's universal laws, there's spiritual laws that govern how all this works. For example, one of them is that the trauma will keep getting passed down through the family line until someone stands and faces it and clears it. And it gets louder. Okay, so when you look at people that are going through all sorts of things, depressions, anxieties, massive issues, breakdowns, all these different things, it's spirit, it's the energy is telling you something is wrong here. There's a symptom. When we look up the word symptom in the dictionary, it means a sign of something else. So what is the something else? It might not just be you. You could have created it, definitely. But a lot of the time too, it's actually coming down through your ancestral lineage is where the source of the problem is. And there's ways of accessing that information and clearing that for you. And it's such an important part of our journey of healing through time. So trauma will keep getting passed forward until someone deals with it. So if you're experiencing trauma of any kind of issues, then that could be something we need to look at. You could have inherited those limiting beliefs. You could have inherited the real scarcity money issues that you're experiencing from mum and dad, but also from their mum and dad and so on, right up through time. The other thing that can take place is what we call hidden loyalties. So I'll give you an example of what that means. Somewhere up through here, depending on where you're from and the circumstances, if your great-great-great-great-grandfather had a house and had slaves working for him, for example, okay, karmically that now comes down through the ancestral line as well that has to be dealt with. Now you might subconsciously remember, and spiritually, even though you might not even be aware of that, energetically you might be saying a hidden loyalty where it says, I'm going to be loyal to those slaves because I'm so upset that that happened in my family system, so I'm not going to thrive financially in any way in life because of my loyalty to those slaves, out of my guilt for what happened to those people. The other thing is you might say, because of the karma of your grandfather having slaves, you might say to yourself, well, I'm not going to thrive here because of what he did, and that can be affecting you karmically as well, okay? The other thing here is, so for example, you might have a hidden loyalty to mum. So for example, let's just say dad left mum at an early age and mum hasn't remarried or had anyone since, and she thinks that men can't be trusted, and you might be going really well in all areas of your life, but out of your hidden loyalty to your mum, who am I to have a beautiful, loving husband and relationship when mum hasn't had that her whole life? So logically it doesn't make sense, but when we're talking about at these other levels of you can have these hidden loyalties to family members, to traumas that have gone place up here. You can have a hidden loyalty to a prosecutor or the prosecuted. So, and also to dad, to mum, because when we're young, we want to be like them, we want to help them, and sometimes we take their pain as well. And so it's important to know how this works and how to clear it. And so a question I've got for you here today is, what burden have you been holding for your family that you can now actually look at and heal and let go of? It's such an important part of the healing journey. I want to empower you with this knowledge, but also in the Living Spirit program, we give you healing tools, healing meditations and journeys to uncover this and apply these spiritual laws for healing and growth. So thanks very much for listening. I hope this has helped for you today. The next video we're going to be talking about is past lives, because not only have you got the ancestors, but you've also got here, you've had other lifetimes, other ancestors in those lifetimes, and you've had many, many past lives, and they also are impacting you in this lifetime. And so it's important to know about that and to be able to do something about that. So that's what we've got in store for the next video. Thanks very much for listening.